Okay, we're in the middle of Perkei. According to my numbering, it's Mishnah Ches. I think some other Mishnahs have it as being a little later, Tes or Yud. We're talking about Rabbi Yochanan Zaki had 5 Talmidim. We ended off in the middle of this Mishnah last time. He had 5 Talmidim, and he's Moine Shivcha. He's going through the praise of each one of the Talmidim. Review it quickly inside. So you have Rabbi Shiur, you have Rabbi Elazar ben Hyrcanus, Rabbi Shiur ben Chananya, Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Shimon ben Nisan, and Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch. Rabbi Elazar ben Hyrcanus bore Sid She'enam Abed Tipa. He doesn't forget, photographic memory, does not forget anything. Rabbi Shiur ben Chananya is Asher Yolatoi. The Rabbeinu Yonah said that he was blessed with all the midas. He was proficient in all the midas. Rashi says, well, is more famously known as his mother, when she was expecting him, would go around to the Batei Medrash and ask the Talmidei Chacham to daven, he should be a Talmid Chacham. Should not a bracha. Today we ask for brachas. Give me a bracha. Then she asked they should daven for him, that he should be a Talmid Chacham. And then when he was born, she left the stroller in the Beis Medrash. She should hear all the words of Torah. We said Chinuch starts with Mamish day 1. Rabbi Yossi HaKoyin is a chassid. The Thimashura said in the Rabbeinu, and he said, Shimon ben Nisan is Yirei Chet. He's afraid of Averis. Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch Kamayna Misgaber, which means like a wellspring. There's always, you tell him one thing, and from that one thing he tells you 5 other things. He's able to take chachma, to take information, and then deduce one thing from the other. That's a Mayna Misgaber. So that's what we got up to last week. The Mishnah continues, Hu Omer, you call Chachmei Yisrael b'kaf maznayin. If you put everyone on a scale, Rabbi Elazar ben Hyrcanus b'kaf shniya, Elazar ben Hyrcanus, who was the Bor Sid She'enam Abed Tipa, you put him on the other side, Machriya is Kula. So it'll be even. It'll weigh out everyone else. So what's Rabbi Yochanan Zaki saying? That, you know, he's a chassid, Yossi HaKoyin was a chassid, and you have Asher Yolatoi. He's saying the Bor Sid She'enam Abed Tipa, that retention of information is the most important midah of all of them. It's more than Yirei Sechet. It's more than being a chassid, is that he has a photographic memory. Is that what he's saying? So the Rabbeinu Yonah says, what's the loimer b'inyan hayidiyah? When it comes to knowledge, so Rabbeinu learns not like that. He learns that as far as yediyas haTorah, as far as knowledge, he would outweigh everyone else. The question, what's the chiddush? I don't know how to answer this question. If you want to tell me that he's saying this is the most important midah of all 5 midas, then fine, okay, it's a chiddush, but that's what he's saying. But if he's saying that as far as yediyas haTorah, he had more than anyone else. Yeah, that's what you said. He was the Bor Sid She'enam Abed Tipa. That's his shvach. That's his praise. Because the chiddush is maybe to the extent that he knew more than everybody else together. That's what he's saying. Okay, and if you put Lagabi Chasidus, if you put Rabbi Yossi HaKoyin on one side, he'd weigh out everyone else also probably. So I'm still not sure why Rabbi Yochanan Zaki chose this midah of Bor Sid She'enam Abed Tipa. And then he continues. Abba Shaul Omer. They say that it's not a machlokes Rabbeinu learns. Mishmoi in Rabbi Yochanan Zaki's name. If you have all the Chachmei Yisrael on one side, one of the scale, Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus Afimon, with Rabbi Elazar ben Hyrcanus on that side, Rabbi Elazar b'kaf shniya, Rabbi Elazar on the other side, ben Aruch on the other side, Machriya is Kula, Mayna Misgaber. Again, says Rabbeinu Yonah, as far as that ability to deduce the davar mitoich davar, to infer one from the other, Rabbi Elazar ben Hyrcanus, Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch was number 1. So again, what's the chiddush? What's the chiddush between? Of course, that is his shvach, that's his praise. But I guess he's saying that the Ruach Chaim Belazar learns it's a machloikis, Rabbi Yochanan Zaki and Abba Shaul, the machloikis of Sinai versus Oiker Hara. That the Belazar ben Aruch, who was the first one? Belazar ben Aruch, who was the Sinai. So Rabbi Yochanan Zaki holds that was the most important, to have a bikiyas and everything. And the last one of Mayna Misgaber, that's the Oiker Harim, that's the one who can be Ma'ayin, who can learn, plummet the depths of Torah, that's the highest one. But still a bit shared to me, what is the chiddush over here? He was Moine Shivchon, at the end he says with the scale, mashal, that he would excel in this midah more than everyone else. That's what he said beforehand. Any answers? Homework for next time. Okay. Mishnah Tes. Omerland, he says to them, Suru, go out and see. So go out and see what is the proper path that a person should be davak in. Why does he say tsu'u v'ru'u, go out and see? You can't see here? What do you have to go out and see? So Chaim Volozhiner says, which was the hashkafa, the philosophy of the Volozhiner yeshiva, he says that when you're sitting and learning the Beis Medrash, your yeshiva baruch in the Beis Medrash, you're not going to be able to know what's the proper derech. It's not your tafkid at that point in life. You have to sit and learn. Once you leave the Beis Medrash, sometimes you have to leave the Beis Medrash. Once you leave the Beis Medrash, then you can go out and see what's the derech yeshar. You can get involved in midas, in what's the proper path. When you're sitting and learning, all one cares about is the Gemara, Rashi, Toys, and the Rambam. That's all they care about. There was once a Maisa where two Bachrim were sitting in the Beis Medrash during Seder in Volozhin, and they were arguing about the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara is saying this, and he wants to do that, and Satan Zazoy, and Chaim Volozhin walked by and said that you're doing exactly what he wants you to do. The Yetzer Hara wants you to talk about him, how to walk like this, and if you go like that, and he's lazy, how do you combat laziness? Anything but Abaya the Rav. Right? So when the Bachar is sitting and learning yeshiva, when we have Seder in the Shtibel, so the tafkid then is not the Yetzer Hara. It's not midas, the tafkid then is to learn Torah. That's why the Mishnah says, Tzuvru'u. When you leave the yeshiva and you go out, then you can go and see Ezi Derech Yeshara, Sheyidvak Ba'adam, that a person should cling to. So what are the drachim? So this is what he asked his Talmidim, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. So Rabbi Elazar says, Ayin Toiva. You have to have a good eye. A good eye. We'll see what that means soon in the Rabbeinu. Yonah, Rabbi Yeshua Oimer Chaver Toiv. You have to be a good friend or have a good friend. It's unclear. Chaver Toiv. Rabbi Yossi Oimer Shochen Toiv. Again, we can ask. That means you have to, when you move somewhere, you should make sure you have good neighbors. You should have Shchenim Toivim, or you should be a Shochen Toiv. Unclear. Rabbi Shimon Oimer Haroyas Anoyla. Someone who sees what's going to happen. See what's down the line. If I do this action now, what's going to be down the line? I'll tell you more about that soon. Rabbi Elazar Oimer Leiv Toiv. You have to have a good heart. Leiv Toiv Amar Lahem Royani is Divrei Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch. Shebechlal Dvar of Divreichem. Says Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, I see Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch's words more than yours, because included in what he said is everything that you said. Okay, so let's take each one on its own. What is an ayin toiv? Zok Rabbeinu Yonah, Yishta Samech Bechelkai. He's happy with his lot. If a person's whatever Kadosh Baruch gives me, that's what I need. I don't need more than that. The person like that will be happy. That's the derech toiv sheyidbak ba'adam. Rabbi Yeshua says chaver toiv sheyidbak adam el chaver toiv. You should find a good friend. So it's not me, not that I guess to have a good friend, you have to be a good friend, but the focus is I should try to surround myself with good friends. Rabbi Yossi says, a shochen toiv, levakish dira sheshchenei toiv. To try to find it when you look for a place to live, see who the neighbors are. Right? Baruch Hashem, I got very lucky with that. Ki chevrosim toiv hana'asim rubam bizman shem toivim. Because it's good for a person to be surrounded by good neighbors. Says the Rabbeinu Yonah, he quotes this in the name of other people, and he says it doesn't shtim because ayin toiv and leiv toiv is internal in me, but chaver toiv and shachin toiv is external. It sounds like they're all saying internal milas that a person has to have, so he does not want to go with that approach. So he says like this: Zeh shomer Rabbi Elazar ayin toiva, but learn about midas hanadivas. Shemida no mishubachas. Ayin toiv means a person is misnadev. He is a nadvan. He's very generous. That could be financially, if he has that ability, or that could be with his time. That could be, he's mischas with people. An unbelievable insight. If a person is a nadvan, a person is generous in all areas that he can be, he will excel in all midas. In other words, and he'll say this soon in Mefurish Rabbeinu Yonah, when a person is embarking on avodas Hashem, so what do? You try to be a master of all trades. You try to excel in everything. That's not too possible. He says you have to pick one midah, and each Tana here picked a different midah. The midah that spoke to them. You pick one midah, and if you excel in that one midah, that'll spill over into other midahs as well. So says Rabbi Eliezer, if a person has an ayin toiv that midas hanadivas, he's generous with everything he has, so that's going to lead to all the other milas acheres. Kimachmas roichav liba ve'en hayafa haisa elav hamidah azois ve'adam kazeh roi l'chol midah toiv. A person who has that positive look in everyone, he's always giving, always trying to help people, that'll lead to all good midas. That is Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yeshua says a chaver toiv. Rotzalei meshiyitbak el haderech hayasher azev v'nakalu liyoyse chaver toiv bli leiv v'leiv leish echad asher liba chavetz lahargil atzmo imoy. Choose someone that you feel will be good for you, and you be a good friend to him. You do whatever it takes to help this person to be a good friend, to be a chaver toiv. Ken yava ba'ava im kol habriyos. If one does that, if he tries to make himself a good friend, he'll end up loving all briyos. And says Rabbi Yeshua, to have Ava to all the Brias is the way to get to all Midas Toivs. It's through Ava. Rabbi Yosef says Shachin Toiv, which is very similar to Chaver Toiv. If he himself becomes a good neighbor, that if they're missing, if they have no milk, no bread, they come to you. You're the place everyone feels comfortable in going to if they're lacking something. If there's an emergency, you have to drop off the kids somewhere, they knock on your door. You make yourself that kind of person. Says the Rabbeinu, once he's loved by 5 or 8 people, his neighbors, he's going to love everyone and become become successful in all the ways. Right? So Nidivus is one of them, and now loving all Brias is another way to come to all good midas. Reb Shimon says, Roya es hanol, the person who can see what's going to be in the future. He can see what's going to happen before it happens. It looks now that this thing is good, it's going the right way. We said yesterday with Navi Sheker. Right now, all his oisim moifsim look like they're panning out. Everything is true. It must be he's right. But if you look down the line, Avodah Zarah is not a good idea. So a chacham is someone who's roya es hanoilad. The Briskerov said, by Giyus Sabanas, it was by Giyus Sabanas, they wanted to get the girls into the army. So he said that when he first came to Eretz Yisrael, he stayed in Haifa. He didn't come to Yerushalayim. Why? Because then the government, the secular government, would make a big tekes, a big parade for any Rav who came from Europe, make a big parade, and then give them money, and then they became meshubah to the government, and they couldn't keep to what they felt was right. He stayed in Haifa until they promised they wouldn't make any tekes for him. He didn't want to be at all, and he said that he knows that if they make that tekes for him, he's going to be fakoif. He's going to be bought by them. He's not going to stick to what he feels is correct. He said, my father, Reb Chaim Salvation, was able to see 30 years into the future. Not with Nevi'us, wasn't a Navi. He was a Roya Esanah. He saw, if I do this now, it's going to lead to that in a month from now, and that in a year from now, and that in a decade from now, and that in 30 years from now. Briskov said, I can see what's today. My father can see 30 years down the line. I can see what's today. It's also a Bechina of Roya Esanah. Therefore, he didn't go. And he said that's one of the reasons why he stayed very stark in his principles, because he never, he never came onto them, so to speak. That's a Roya Esanah. One has to be very careful. If something looks good now, what will be down the line? I have a brother-in-law who is very makro not to carry in the Eruv. It's his family minute. They don't carry in the Eruv.
Yerushalayim or here?
Anywhere. Even the old city.
Yerushalayim.
His father didn't carry even in the old city. Didn't wear his glasses in the old city. So there was a chasna in Toronto, and he's a Talmud Chacham, a Rav, a Choshev Yid, and he paskined that someone can carry his baby daughter to shul because we're eating in the shul, and the shviger wants the family together, and she couldn't walk, so they can't push a stroller, they can't carry, they can't do anything. So he was matir someone else to carry the baby daughter to the shul. So I told him, I said, I hear, but it could be that your grandchildren, will do that themselves. In other words, if there's a reason to go, they themselves will carry, that you're having someone else. And it could be your great-grandchildren will always carry with the I'm not saying he was wrong and I'm right. I'm saying that's the concept of, right now, it sounds good, it looks good that she needs it, the shviga, no? But you have to be roy es hanoilad. L'maisa, these kids don't carry in the air still, so Baruch Hashem. But that's a roy es hanoilad. Right now it looks like, there's a big tzarech, a need for it, but what's going to be down the line? You make an exception once, vos gate zayin, what's going to be down the line, one has to see. That's roya es hanoilad. That was Reb Shimon. Okay, so that was Reb Shimon's roya es hanoilad. The blood says leiv toiv. Says the Rabbeinu Yonah. Understand, this is what Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said is the number one midah. He was machriya like Rabbi Lazar leiv toiv. This will lead to all good midas. Says Rabbeinu Yonah, Rotza loymar midas haratzon ze hasavlon she'enoi k'tzar ruach u'misrachet midas hakas. This is someone who is a savlon. He's patient. He's patient with people. He's a savlon. He's not a k'tzar ruach. He's not short-tempered. And he's misrachik. He distances himself from the midas hakas. Af kiyasu loy dovara. Even if they go against what he wants them to people to do, his family doesn't always listen to him. He's patient. He bears it. The ein mar b'fiu, there's nothing negative in his speech. Now, when there's Averas going on, one has to be negative. But we're talking about in general. If someone steps on my toes, someone cuts me off, I don't lash out. There's no negativity in my words. Because his palate is sweet, everything he does is lovely. Says Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, this will bring to all good midas. If a person has patience, doesn't get angry, is not makbid on what he wants, that will lead to all good midas. Musa Haskell, someone to focus on an El as we begin. Today's Aleph El, before you know it, it's going to be Beis El. And before you know it, it's going to be Yud Gimel. And then Chaf Aleph, and then Rosh Hashanah. And we always tend, I myself, to push things off until Erev Rosh Hashanah, okay, fine. Now I'll try and... But Lamaisa, we have to start from the beginning. So maybe we can work on this midah of savlanos, of lack of kas. And we'll measure ourselves next week if we how our anger, our savlanos. But before you walk into a public place, before you walk into a shul, and things don't go the way you want, before you walk into your house, and things might not be the way you want, think about this mission. Think about Leiv Tov, and that's the key to all good midas.